So first of all, congratulations on retirement.
Thank
You
you.
just talked about it, over 40 years in the public sector. Let's start with this. Talking to some people yesterday, of course, the first thing that came up, the sewer project, the biggest infrastructure project in this city's history, amongst some other economic development projects that I'm sure you're well aware about. Why was now the right time for you to retire?
Well, I got to tell you, I've been doing this so long. I've been tired for about a year now. There's a lot of, when I came in and had to report the sewer problem that had been going on for 40 years, and coming in the middle of COVID, I really couldn't get to know anybody. You can't really meet with anybody, and that went on for a year and a half. So it was a little more difficult transition from my former employment to here. So it was a little difficult, but I think what it hit is when Mike McCarthy passed. He's not that much older than me, and I sit with him a lot, usually on Friday afternoons until after work is done, and we chat about stuff. And that was so sudden, and I thought, at some point, I've never really thought I would retire. And then you start thinking to yourself, I'm not sure I want to die in that chair someday. And I just, my brother passed away here about 2 months ago. It just kind of makes you get a feeling of your own mortality, and I'm 61 years old.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry to hear about your brother.
Thank you.
Condolences to you and your family. You mentioned, though, a little tired over the last year or so, and it's hard not to think about in the last year. There's a lot that's happened in this community, and particularly the recall effort. I know they weren't going for your position, but your name kept coming up a lot in conversation in regards to that. So how much did that recall effort play a part in maybe this decision?
It didn't, because even after the Supreme Court decided unanimously not to allow the recall, and I made the final decision after that, it wasn't really about the recall. It never was. I mean, city managers, city administrators anywhere get beat up quite a bit. County administrators, to a lesser extent probably, but this is not unusual for this field, right? So I knew what I was getting into. There's the controversial things you have to do. People.
Pause this really quick. Hold on, there's something. Sorry, there's a setting on here. That's what it is. Okay.
You okay audio-wise?
Yeah, audio's fine.
Okay,
The autofocus got turned on,
Oh, okay.
and I was like, my shot kept going out of focus, and it didn't make any sense. There we go. Okay. You can re-ask that.
Sorry, picking up where we left off, talking
Sure.
about the recall, where you're at, yeah.
Yeah, the recall had nothing to do with this. I mean, I like working here. I like the people. I've met with so many people during the sewer project individually in my office, hundreds of them, well more than 400 couples, not just here, but at their homes and stuff, kind of explaining the process of the new program. And it's been a great experience. It's just that after a while, my kids are grown, and it just, at some point you just realize that you've got to do something different.
So this is it. There's going to be no more looking for maybe another opportunity elsewhere.
No.
This is it.
This is it.
You're done.
This is it.
And you're going to plan on maybe staying here in Monclova Township, and that's where you're from.
Yes. I'm actually from Waterville.
Yeah. This is home for you.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay. This week, a lot of changes happened. Your announcement yesterday, Councilman Noonan on Tuesday announcing that he's resigning, and there's 2 current council members that are not rerunning in November. So there's going to be a lot of change within the next 6 months potentially.
That's right.
What do you have to say about that and the overhaul that we're starting to see in a lot of different areas in the city's government? Is there a culture concern, or just what have you heard from people in terms of this overhaul?
Well, I get it. I mean, even the Blade article, my leadership style is a direct leadership style, and I push myself, and I expect people to put in those hours. Not the hours I put in, obviously, but I expect a lot of people, and I expect a lot of myself. Anybody who works with me knows that I work those kind of hours.
What kind of hours do you work? What was your typical Monday through Friday?
It's usually Monday through Sunday, 65 to 75 hours a week.
Yeah. And so you just think some people didn't have that same commitment?
Well, no, I don't think it's that. I think everybody works. Some people might work smarter than I do. Get it. I'm try to be analytical, and it slows me down sometimes. But there are times when, when a community gets to a point where you've got a couple of problems. The sewer program is off and running. You've gotten the Uptown project done, the Nantucket Trail project, for the most part the 28 project, when you do that and you become the lightning rod, you start thinking about, if I'm at the end of my career, it might be a better idea for the community to reset. It doesn't mean that council needs to be thrown out of office, for sure, because there's a lot of great council people I work with. I mean, I have respect for every one of those council members I work with, even former council members. And I've worked with a lot of council members and a lot of mayors in my career. And I got to tell you, some of the best, and they're very thoughtful. But I think in the end, you know, if I'm the distraction, at some point you let the community heal. And that's what I think's got to happen here. Because you will not pull off this sewer program. It will become much more expensive for residents if they don't, in the first 5 to 7 years, make a huge dent in this I&I problem we have.
So you called yourself a lightning rod there.
I get it.
I mean, you are certainly, I will say this, I mean, I'm a young guy, so I don't have the experience that you've had in local government, but I mean, I've yet to see in my lifetime driving around there, I mean, you know it, the Burtch, give Burtch the boot signs. There's people that really don't like you, professionally at least. So why do you think this community is such like a lightning rod for controversy and headline generating, and why does it usually come back to you think?
Well, because I push projects, and see, I have a philosophy that if you're not moving forward, you're dying. And I don't think that many people, if they really thought about that statement, would disagree. I mean, the day we're born, we start to die, and if we don't start doing something proactive about what we do, basically even our own health, or even as an organization, eventually, I mean, look at what's happened here in Maumee. It's not unlike many communities, right? Especially suburban and urban communities. When you realize and go back at the leading economic indicators the last, say, 20 years in Maumee, they've been going down. If you look at the census and you look at the population size and family size and all the things that go into making an economic projection, people get a euphoric feeling when they see something happen. They feel, oh, we're good. But that downland trend never gets to what it was 5 years ago. It blurps a little bit, then it starts going down again. It's like everything, I mean, your roof on your house, the minute you put it on, it starts to die. It starts to get brittle. It starts asphalt roads. Everything, when you do that, starts to decay. And if you don't shock that into changing, people wake up 40 years later and the sewers haven't been done and realize that it's a huge shock to take on such a repair that probably should have been going on for 40 years almost unnoticed, the fix.
I want to ask you something about the sewers. I talked to Chelsea Ziss, I'm very well aware of her, and she told me yesterday, going into this post your time as city administrator, and there's this in-between phase where they're going to be selecting the new city administrator. A concern with the sewer project is the question that's still awaiting the legal opinion of, can public dollars be spent to fix broken sewer laterals on a private property? And she just wanted to know, as you're kind of leaving your position here, what is the latest update, and where is that process at right now in terms of getting that solidified to keep this process going forward?
I gave that update in the last council meeting. Okay. It's not about whether or not we have approval to spend public dollars on laterals. Okay. That's been decided. Okay. Council declared those nuisances outside of people's houses. The issue has primarily been, and is currently still, only putting sump pumps in and making disconnections inside of private homes. Okay. And you could imagine why that would make any council member feel a little scared about approving such an expenditure.
Do you think that will eventually be possible? That'll get the green light?
I truly believe that.
Okay.
We're still working on it. I hope that before I'm done on the 15th, or 16th, I hope that we have that in order.
Okay. I want to ask you this. As you've reflected, I know you said you're still kind of processing the news, and this is so recent. Have you had a chance to think about what's been your biggest accomplishment, and maybe what's something you haven't been able to accomplish yet, maybe your biggest regret as you're leaving office?
Well, there's a couple of very large economic development projects that we're working on that is my biggest regret and accomplishment, I hope. You know, I was brought in for that reason, really, because of experience in economic development. The the issue here I see as being my biggest regret is not getting ahead of the sewer narrative quicker. I think I've been doing this so long, so I've always believed that any policy or any ordinance changes over time. It evolves as people give input. And it blew up so quickly that it just caught, I think, all of us off guard. We all knew that it was going to have to change. The first ordinance we passed was simply about making 50 or 60 property owners, as they do it, to disclose what they were doing and be prepared to start fixing their sewers. That was not going to be enough. Everybody knew that. You have to do roughly 4,000 homes, and that wasn't going to happen. So I think the point is trying to, I regret that I'm not staying to finish that all, but when you start thinking, I've been doing this a long time. I've been in this field for over 40 years, and it's just a long time. There's not a lot of people who work those, unless you're in the private sector working for yourself, you're not really working those kind of years.
All right, the last thing I wanted to ask you,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to make sure you give you the opportunity to respond to this.
Mm-hmm.
Last few months, we've gotten multiple claims made by anonymous city employees who wanted to stay anonymous because they were concerned about retaliation. That they say that you've done wrongdoing while in time as city administrator. One of them left us a comment last night even saying, quote, "Justice has not yet been served and more than one employee is actually cooperating with the authorities." So I want to ask you this. Why do you believe that people have made those claims to us? Because there are multiple reports of that. And have you been one who's committed any wrongdoing?
No.
Or anything like that? What is your response to those?
I wouldn't even know what the wrongdoing would be.
No. Well, some of the claims involved no checks and balances on power and nepotism in terms of hiring contractors for various projects. Those are some of the
Nepotism as in family members?
friends or past contractors that have been hired in other locations were some of the main.
How is, if that is the case, it's not the case, but what if it was? How is that wrongdoing?
I'm just giving you.
Yeah, I don't
these are
know.
Claims made to us, right? And
There's no
it's
wrongdoing, in any of that. If I've heard all sorts of things myself, which just aren't true. It just isn't. I don't even know who that might be. So that's certainly up for somebody to look into if they want to. I don't fear that I've done anything wrong.
Okay. All right. My last question for you, Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Your message to the people of Maumee as you leave, because I know I've been on the Facebook groups, a lot of people have criticism of you. There are certainly people I've talked to that have praise for you. What is your message to them on why they should continue to believe in the future of Maumee and the future of its government?
I think in the era we live in nationally has kind of trickled down, and I think the idea is that I think people have a tendency to don't trust what they don't understand. Things are they're run so differently than people see from the outside, and when council makes decisions or I have to make a decision, I think a lot of that gets misconstrued. They automatically think nefarious things. We've seen that on the national level every single day in the news. Everything's a problem, everything's a conflict, everything's an ethical problem, everything's illegal. At some point, people are going to have to start trusting when you elect somebody to run, you have to believe that the American experiment here is a representative democracy, meaning you vote people in to vote their conscience. And that's, I think, what some people have a hard time understanding. They know it inherently as Americans. We know that we have a right to vote, but our right to vote is for our representatives and for specific initiatives that get brought up in a proper manner. So that's what the message is you got to start to heal, because you've got some big projects ahead of you, and if you don't, it's going to be difficult.
Stephen, did you want him to re-answer the first question, just because that's when that button was pushed, the camera was in autofocus?
Oh,
just
about why deciding to retire. I mean, if you feel like I need to, I trust your word.
I would feel better
Okay.
If we,
All right.
and I'm really sorry, it's my fault. This is my special camera, and a button got pushed that I don't normally touch. So I was like, I
Just
don't
asking
know.
why you're retired now.
Yeah, I know we're
Oh.
going back to the beginning.
I'm sorry.
Throws me off now. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. It's my fault. You can-
No, I'm not upset. I'm just trying to, if I can reset,
Sure.
right?
No. Let me just restart that question. Maybe that'll help you out. So
Okay.
we're talking about, biggest sewer project, a lot of projects going on economic development wise, and people were surprised that you had announced your retirement yesterday. So why was now the right time to retire for you?
I've been doing this a long time, just a real long time, and your mortality starts to come into focus over time. I'm a 20-year cancer survivor, throat cancer survivor. That was a pretty big battle. So at some point, you start thinking, is that ever going to come back? Is the stress that I go through every day going to make it that much more difficult to maintain a lifestyle, even if I decide to retire even at a later date? So I made a decision that this is the time.
Now I promise we're good.
Okay.
Patrick.